You are on the road beyond. Welcome to the show. We're back. Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Todd Duplantis. I'll be your host for the next half hour. We got a great guest for you tonight, but we're going to definitely introduce you to a guy who is on the road beyond. Now, we're talking about James Williams, who took an ambulance and converted it into a mobile rolling mountain climbing home. We're going to talk more about that in a lot of that coming up to later on in the show. We'll get to him in a bit. But first, my producer, Scotty Barrett, is joining us live from his home studio. Scotty, good to see you. I think your mic is off. Let's see if we go.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
I see you got the memo about the crazy shirt night.
Yes, and I'm wearing it. It's spring.
Yeah. Okay. So this shirt, there's a story behind the shirt. It's called Crouching Tiger. Hidden. See, there's a drink pocket there.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I was on vacation in Cancun a couple of weeks ago, and this kid was wearing the shirt. And I'm like, dude, where did you get that shirt? This kid's like 22 years old. He said, my friend's dad started a company. He's selling these shirts. I'm like, give me the name of the company because I have to have that shirt. So weeks later, the shirt arrives, and there you go. So that's the crazy story behind the crazy shirt I have tonight. Scotty, we've got an interesting guest joining us soon. We'll be getting to him in a while, so we'll talk more with you in a little while.
Okay.
All right. First, let's look at some big news from NASA. Hey, guess what, folks? After 50 years, we're returning to the moon. Well, sort of. Today, the first humans to return to the moon have been named. They will orbit the moon aboard the Artemis 2. They are mission specialist Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency, the pilot Victor Glover, mission commander Reed Wiseman, and the woman with the most hours logged in space, Christina Koch. All of them will be taking off early next year. They'll be flying out to the moon and orbit the dark side in return without actually walking on the moon. That will be later next year on Artemis 3. But it's a great start, and it's something we all should be excited about because you know why? There's some more bizarre moon news from this past month. Check this out. Okay, take a look at this picture. What is exactly going on here? You're looking at a picture of the moon where NASA scientists say a mystery rocket body crashed into the surface on March the 4th. According to a NASA release in the Houston Chronicle, scientists are baffled on a couple of things. Number one, who launched it? Number two, why did the rocket cause two craters? Well, the picture was shot by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Astronomers have been monitoring the object since late last year and followed it until it struck the surface of the moon in early March. So where did it come from? Does NASA know? Of course they know. Will they tell us? Maybe. Well, what about the double crater effect? Well, as they've told us, it appears to be a heavy motor on one end and maybe an empty fuel tank on the other. But let's look at the bigger picture here because it's got to be a bigger picture. What's going on here? Let's review what's happened over the last couple of months, shall we? On February 4th, U.S. fighter jets shot down a Chinese spy balloon as it was exiting the East Coast. But it was only downed after it had traversed the whole country, entering U.S. airspace on January 28th. Then we're told NORAD somehow adjusted their radar antenna. Now, no, I'm not making this up. And within a span of the next 3 days, the U.S. military shot down 3 UFOs, or as they're now calling them, UAPs. One was off the east coast of Alaska on February the 10th. Another shot down over Canada February the 11th. The third was shot down over Lake Huron on February the 12th. Then on February the 17th, get this, it was announced by U.S. officials that the search for debris was suspended. We know the first object was a balloon, but we also, what about the other 3? What happened there? Does anyone know? Does anyone care? Has anyone followed up on this with the media? Hello, you've got a press briefing with the secretary, with the press secretary, and no one asks about it. Of course not. We're not told the truth, and I can tell you what, the government knows exactly what's going on. They're just not telling us, but I have a feeling they're going to have to come clean soon, or this is just going to be the start. Well, on to tonight's guest. Let's check this out. This is pretty cool. Let's meet James Williams, avid surfer, mountain climber, dirt bike aficionado, and James is joining us here on the Road Beyond podcast. It's great to meet you here on the Road Beyond. James, first off, tell us you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but where are you right now?
Let me get unmuted here.
There you go.
So right now I am in the middle of a park in the middle of the city. I'm actually in town for once.
Okay, so you're in town, but let's get to we're going to get to your ventures in a few minutes, but let's talk about the nuts and bolts of your venture. You obviously put a lot into your venture. Let's look inside at your finished rolling ambulance. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on inside there.
You want me to pan the camera around?
Yeah, pan the camera. Show us what you got in there.
Man, I didn't clean anything up. Let's see here. So kitchen over here, got my little wood burning stove right there. I got my dog here. This is Ruger, and he's about to start walking on the table with me now. Yeah, it's tough having a 65-pound dog in such a small space, but we make it work.
What got you? I want to talk about, because what you're using for connectivity is pretty interesting as well. We're going to get to that. What inspired you to do this? You got an ambulance, you turned it into your home. You're kind of somewhat living off the grid a little bit, but what inspired you to do this?
It's always been a dream of mine to be able to be on the road. When I was 16, I had a little pickup truck. I put a shell on it and took off for the summer as soon as I could. And something about that road trip just got me hooked on the freedom that comes with, living out of your vehicle. And it's like a blank canvas for adventure. And ever since then, I really wanted to be able to do a van, a bus, something. And an ambulance is really great for someone that wants to build something that's a little bit more of like an overland rig. So being able to I want to get down to remote beaches down in Baja, Mexico. That was my goal. And that's why I chose the ambulance.
Is it a bit about being a survivalist in a way that you really don't have to depend on anybody? You're self-sustaining in a lot of ways?
There's a freedom to that, yeah. So this rig right here is designed to be able to be off-grid for about 2 weeks at a time. I'll run out of water before I'll run out of anything else.
Wow.
And if I have access to a somewhat fresh source of water, I can be off grid for about a month and a half. Water's my first thing to go.
Well, I'll tell you, the person that used to co-host the show with me, Ike McFadden, he was homebound for a couple of years during COVID. He was with his father in Georgia, and he left. He's now over in Malta, but he spent the last 20 or so years literally living out of suitcase, going from country to country, working wherever he wanted. And I'd ask him, what do you do for like winter clothes, summer clothes? He goes, I just toss them away and I buy more if I need them. Is that the kind of the way you live?
Not quite. I mean, I have my wardrobe that I wear on a pretty regular basis. And then I have a duffel bag in my garage area that has, dress clothes and winter clothes. And right now I'm using a lot of my winter stuff. I was just camping in an area where it's -7 out. So definitely using that.
And you also use solar panels, and tell us about your internet connectivity, because that's fascinating. How did you get hooked up with that?
Yeah. So as far as the electric goes, first thing is that I don't run a generator. The only thing that is off of a fuel would be when I run my engine, I can charge my house battery system, but everything in this rig gets powered by my solar. The solar tilts, which really amplifies the amount of power that you're able to get out of them. It's really important to be able to run Starlink, because Starlink gets me internet anywhere that I go. It doesn't matter if I'm high up on a mountain or low in a valley, it doesn't matter. And that takes power throughout the day. So my solar system had to be designed for all the things I'd be running on a continuous basis, like the Starlink.
How long did it take you to outfit your vehicle? Because I don't think people understand. There's a lot of engineering that goes into that, where you have to figure out everything from solar panels to Starlink, getting hooked up, having your water supply. How long did it take you to engineer that? Were you one of these kids in school that spent time as a nerd, just trying to figure out how you build things?
Yeah, pretty much. I was building, I learned how to make homemade rockets when I was in middle school. I was making forts when I was younger, building engines. Yeah. It took me about a year and a half to actually build this out. It was kind of on and off because I had another project I was working on too. But yeah, these things can never be truly done. If I had the resources, I would rip it all out and do it over again, just because there's always a better version.
Are you constantly, re-engineering things while you're out there on the road, trying to fix things, make them better, or do you have that flexibility?
No, right now I'm really concentrated on another project, so I'm trying not to touch this at all for a while. I kind of want to be done with it after working on it for so long.
So it looks like your creation worked out pretty well for you as an adventure machine, I guess it would be called, but it hasn't been without its challenges. You were just talking about -7 degrees where you were camping before. What are some of the challenges you've run into out there on the road?
You know, I've had a few things happen, and they're all unexpected. -7 wasn't too bad. I was fighting to make sure that my pipes didn't freeze. Ended up freezing for about an hour, so that was fun. I've broken the lug studs off my tires and almost had a tire fly off while going down the road and had to replace that on the side of the road. My first day on, like when I first got started on the road, my alternator went out that same day, had to replace it in a parking lot. I think the key with something like this is I carry a lot of tools with me. So it's just being prepared for whatever happens. And having the dirt bike on the back really helps too. Because if I'm 50 miles away from anything, I know I can hop on the dirt bike and either go get help, grab a part, whatever it is.
Let's talk about the technology used to stay connected, because a lot of people have heard of Starlink, and I think most people probably heard of Starlink when Elon Musk opened it up for Ukraine when the war started so that he can get connectivity. But here in the States, how do you get that to work for you? I mean, did you have to get permission from Musk? Did you log in? How does that work?
No. It's been released for a while, but I was one of the first users to actually get my hands on it. And in order to do that, I had to ship it to a UPS store because I was already on the road. You know, it's really simple. It plugs into the wall. That's all you have to do is plug it in. And the little, the dish on top, it just rotates north and you get connection. You just can't block the dish.
So it looks like you're not totally disconnected from civilization. Do you interact with a lot of people while you're out there on the road? I mean, you obviously met some characters while you're out there on journeys.
Yeah, to say the least, I've met some characters. I'll say this, you can get to meet everyone doing this. There's very, very smart, intelligent people that are on the road that have their heads on straight. And then there's people that, they've kind of lost their mind being out on the road and gotten into drugs, and it's more of a homeless thing. And there's kind of a gray line between the people that want to do it and the people that have to do it. As far as seeing people, though, sometimes I'll get really far off grid and I'll be gone for 2 weeks at a time, and I won't see a single person for 2 weeks. I get the most done during that time. I'm working on my laptop. And other times it's like a week and a half of just seeing a ton of people and being super social. And then it's like, all right, I'm ready to get back out.
So you get enough of your people fill, then you kind of move back out on your own when you need to get some work done, from what you're saying.
Yeah. You know what I find has been really nice about this is when you get out into the middle of nowhere, you don't have the distractions you typically would. You have other distractions, but you don't have people constantly asking you to do things or whatever it might be. You don't have to say no as often. And then when you're in town, if there's it's easy to say no to things when you're, in town. Like, let's say if you're trying to diet and like you only have to say no for ice cream when you're in town. Then you get out into the middle of nowhere and you're like, I'm not going into town for a thing of ice cream.
So I would imagine being out there is probably good for the waistline for middle-aged guys like myself, right?
Depends what you bring with you. I see some guys with some super elaborate camping setups with their kitchens. They're eating well.
I want to see if our director, Nathan, can you play clip number 5 from talking about Walmarts? Because I understand you're a big fan of Walmarts. Play, Nathan?
I would not quite say that. But there's been a few times where it's been nice to be around people.
All right. Looks like we're showing that clip right now. So you're in the middle of winter right now. Spring is coming up. Are you looking forward to spring? I guess last week we were talking to you and are you still in the Denver, Colorado area?
Yeah. I'm going to be out in Denver for a little while. And actually today I just got Colorado plates. I came in with California ones, and everyone, was, kind of scowling at me a little bit. and get
Well, let me my next question is, do you seek the most unhospitable weather during the time of season? Or like, seems to me, if I'm on the grid, I'm probably not going to be going to Denver during the middle of winter. I might be headed to Baja at this time. But is that something you're looking for, to maybe go to the extremes to deal with that?
No, I'm working during the day, like on my laptop, and doing it inside the rig. I would rather not be inside, so rather not be in snowy conditions.
Right.
I kind of need to be out here in Denver right now, but I would this season. I would much rather be in Baja surfing. Much rather be doing that.
So let me chime in here. Let me ask you about this, James. You have a lot of reverence for nature, and you see a lot of mess out there. Talk to me about that. What is your goal?
So one thing that you do see on public lands is, they're public lands. Anyone can go on them. And when you don't have to pay to park someplace out in nature, people tend to disrespect it, unfortunately. You see a lot of trash out there. Some places, not much. Other places, there's a lot. I'm coming out here to Denver because I'm starting a cleaning company. And the idea around this cleaning company, I ran one in San Diego for a while, so I'm doing it again. But the idea behind this cleaning company is cleaning our community, and we fund that through providing janitorial services. Our clients will actually get to pick places to for our team to go out and clean in the community, pick up trash, do graffiti removal, because it's something that it really bugs me seeing that out there in some of these places.
Well, you're actually creating a franchise business about surrounding this business.
One step at a time, but Denver is going to be my first whack at it. And the last one that I worked on, I was able to kind of develop it around a lifestyle business, get to a critical mass, and then I was able to start focusing on this, and eventually take off and start doing some trips.
Wow.
James, let me go back to, you'd mentioned something at the top of the show when we started talking to you about your water, and you said you would probably run out of water before you'd run out of electricity. How do you deal with that situation? Obviously, you have to monitor the water that you're using on a daily basis. Has that been a hindrance for you during this journey?
Yeah, water is the first thing that'll bring me back to a town if there's no water around the area. I got 46 gallons of water that lasts me and the dog about 2 weeks. That's 1 gallon showers every day. If I was to do it again, I would definitely be doing a little larger truck, a little bit more water. If I'm in an area where there's a river, I can actually pull right from a river. I have the filtration, I have a water pump. So that's the limiting factor.
Well, talk to me about the power. There's direct current and there's alternating current. How does that mechanism work for you there?
Well, for me, the power is all about storage. So you got 3 large lithium batteries. Those are all direct current. Your power from the sun is also direct current. Your household outlets that you see in your home that you plug your coffee maker into, that's alternating current. The batteries is where the power is stored. If you want to use it for a coffee maker, then you got to use something called an inverter. It transforms that power into alternating current so you can use it. All stuff that I've had to build out in this rig.
And there's a learning curve with that, isn't there?
Yeah, the great thing is that we live in the age of information, and there are some really great people that have gone through the headache of figuring out these systems. And, you go to them and they help you develop a system. Good old YouTube.
YouTube and social media. I know you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Has that helped your journey? And has Elon Musk known that you're using Starlink this way? Have you been able to get him to tweet anything out for you?
I doubt he'd sponsor me. He's got so many people lined up for his service that the last thing he needs is someone to go out there telling more people about it.
How has social media helped you on your journey? Has it helped you, or has it been a hindrance?
I never did any social media stuff till about a month and a half ago. It was all just kind of personal stuff. So about a month and a half ago, I posted a video that just blew up, and it's something that I want to do as a way to help promote what I'm doing with Eco Action out here in Denver. That's a big part of it, and to document journey of doing that.
Okay.
I know spring's just around the corner. What are your plans now as it starts to get warmer?
So I'm in Denver right now. I just got my address out here now, Colorado resident. I'm going to head back into the mountains for about a month and a half, and I'm going to enjoy that time, but I'm also going to be working. I'm going to be doing a lot of the setup for this janitorial business out there. And then it's time to put, put the nose to the grindstone for a while and come out here and work on this I probably will be in this city for several months before I get a chance to go back into the mountains.
I know you were talking about a business model you had for more or less a cleaning service for the national parks. Have you had interest from the National Park Service with this? Have you approached them? How has that been?
I haven't talked to them about it, particularly because it might be difficult being out here in Denver and might be able to take cleaners and go up into the mountains and public areas. Logistically, that's a lot. And looking at Denver, I think that this town out of anywhere could really use the help in the city. There's a lot of trash out here.
One question I have for you as a Road Beyond host here, because we always talk about crazy stuff on the show. Do you feel now, since you've done this, you can survive the zombie apocalypse that
Have you ever watched The Walking Dead?
I have. Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I used to watch that show.
Well, I don't want to tell you how old was that when that show came out, because it didn't seem like middle school for me.
I'm only 24, so yeah, it was recent enough. But man, I feel like I could get off grid, but I feel like some zombies would break through the windows here. I feel like it would be a battle.
Well, if you get enough off grid, they wouldn't find you. Just keep going deeper and deeper in the woods. It seems like you're good at that.
Yeah, I need to get a lift kit on this thing because the departure angle on this truck, when I start going up a hill, it drags the rear end, and I hear a big thud when I hit the bumper. It's something that needs to be done. I'm abusing it a little bit.
You need new tires too, don't you? You need new tires?
I need to put some larger tires, do my four-wheel drive conversion, but all that's going to wait.
Yeah, we'll talk to Firestone for you, Scotty.
No, Goodyear. They make the tires you want.
All right. Have you seen the movie Cocaine Bear yet? That's my next question.
No, I haven't, but there's definitely a little bit more probably boyish part of me that wants to see that.
Well, you'll appreciate driving an ambulance around if you go see Cocaine Bear. I'll just give that to you. That's a big
deal. I'll check it out.
Make sure you do that. James, we appreciate you being on the show. We've enjoyed having you on here. We wish you the best of success as you head out there. Let us know how your journeys go. We'd love to get you back on again as you launch your new business.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, and it was a pleasure talking with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, James. Good luck to you. Thanks for being here. Scotty, very fascinating. You got to envy somebody who's just going to live out off the grid. I like that myself. Sometimes I just want to get away from people for a while. And that's the way to go.
You've got to look at all of his work on Instagram, and he's got some Facebook posts and, of course, YouTube.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how he uses ingenuity. For example, he ran out of water, and he just drove down to a lake and filled up with water. He had to find the lake, but it's an adventurous thing for this guy. I follow him every chance I get. Every post he makes, I follow.
Well, we're going to put all of this social media information in the post after our show. So
yes.
All right. Scotty, now we're going to turn to you got a strange and unforgettable place on Mother Earth that you're going to tell us about.
Oh, yes. There are places around our Mother Earth that are strange and almost indescribable. Some of them unexplainable. For now, we're going to go to South America. We're going to go to Venezuela. See that big lake in Venezuela? It's called Lake Marquillado, and it is on the west side of that lake that there is a light show. One night out of 3, every 100 nights over a year. There's lightning. Look at this. And it's not explainable. There's no real reason for it. people haven't been able to explain why there is such an abundance of lightning over this west side of that lake. I'd like to hear an explanation if someone's got one, because the lightning is absolutely spectacular. Look at these shots.
So it shows up, you said 100 days out of the year.
Yes. So every 3 days, a third of the year, there is this light show over Lake Maracaibo. They call it actually it's called the Catambo lightning, because it comes out over the Catambo River, which comes into the west side of that lake.
Now, I know next time on the Road Beyond podcast, we're going to be talking about Mars, because a lot's been going on Mars. You know, we may not have people up there. We've got a couple of rovers, and the People's Republic of China has a rover on the red planet as well.
Very few people know that.
Yeah.
Let's look at that. This is the Chinese version of our Perseverance and Curiosity.
Right.
That is operating on a different part of Mars, far away from our rovers. And we're looking on getting some pretty extraordinary exclusive pictures from the Chinese. I've been working on that, talking to Beijing, trying to do that. And we'll on our next podcast, we'll
get them to communicate with you. We might need to put you into the Department of Defense. They need to talk to them as well.
Well, yes.
If you can get on the line.
We'll also ask about balloons.
Ask about balloons. All right. So that's going to be next week on the show. We'd like to thank James Williams again for sharing his adventures with us. Follow him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Find us on Facebook and Twitter as the Road Beyond Podcast. We also have the Road Beyond Podcast fans Facebook group. Follow that. And you can follow me at Todd Duplantis 65 on Instagram for more. Thanks for being here on the show. We appreciate you joining us. Scotty, we'll see you next week.
Okay.
And we'll see all of you next week right here on the Road Beyond Podcast.